Hi, this is Cecilia from Tarot by Cecilia, and this is your Love and Finance Tarot guidance for the month of August 2017. Here we are, folks. This month is the game changer. This is the month the universal cyclone comes through and changes the entire landscape of everyone's lives. On the 3rd, Uranus will retrograde, which it does every year. But I have to tell you, you've been like right there. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. Uranus retrograde is going to make you do it. You're finally going to just get up, go do it, and be on your way. I think that's a wonderful thing. On the 4th, Jupiter will once again square Pluto. This is going to help you even more because this is all about power plays and stepping into your power and making things happen. So you really have some phenomenal energies on your side this month. You know, this cyclone of change is nothing to be afraid of. It really is wishing to work in your favor. On the 7th, there will be a full moon lunar eclipse at 15 degrees Aquarius. This is the first Aquarius eclipse in this, series that's going on this time around. And there will be more, of course, coming up. On the 12th, just to make it more fun, Mercury is going to enter its second retrograde of 2017 on the 21st. And I have been talking about this day since I did the Jupiter in Libra on Patreon last September, okay? That's how long ago it came up when I've been talking about it. It will be a new moon, total solar eclipse at 28 degrees Leo. You remember last month we had the new moon at 0 degrees Leo. We don't very often get two, let alone one being a total solar eclipse. So this is a phenomenal time. Don't forget, set aside time if you're in the United States to make sure you get out to watch it in person, because it's been 99 years since this has happened to be able to view this across the U.S. Now, on the 22nd, the sun will enter Virgo, and we'll start leaving all of that Leo energy behind that we've had so much of. On the 25th, Saturn, the taskmaster, finally goes direct. Wonder if that'll ease things up a little bit. We'll have to see. This is going to be quite a month, I'm sure. Then on the 31st, retrograde Mercury re-enters Leo. Okay? And just so I don't start over here, I did miss on the 25th, Venus will enter Leo. Okay? There will, of course, for all of these things, the appropriate ones be Patreon videos to help supplement all of the tarot guidance that's here. I have to tell you, when I was contemplating doing this one, and every once in a while someone will say to me, Cecilia, you really didn't talk that much about love and finance. Well, somehow it's all worked in, people. It really, truly is. And I thought, well, maybe this month we should put a disclaimer and say, this is eclipse month. It's Mercury retrograde, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? It's all tied up in there. Love and finance. When it comes to eclipses and Mercury retrogrades, yes it is. So let's see what's happening, shall we? The universe is truly conspiring to push you forward with great success. I think this is a wonderful thing. But I also think part of it is mental. Like, in order to accomplish these things, you had to mentally arrive at the right place. And that's hard to comprehend sometimes, okay? Because the desire has been there, but the proper impetus, and I think that's what I was referring to with the Uranus retrograde, is that it's going to give you that boost you need, that, restoring faith in yourself type of thing to get you out there and make things happen. And you have been seeking balance and fairness in your life, especially within some personal relationships that you have, whether they're love interest or they're, work related, whatever it is. It's had a lot of bearing on the decisions that you've made. But what I like here is that you're learning how to make decisions in a very grounded way, in a very down-to-earth way, where you can move forward, I think, at a steady pace, okay? A steady pace of change. And you know that the changes are coming. Because one of the things that I find is that everybody always thinks, like when I do personal readings, okay, I'm going to get a reading from Cecilia and she's just going to wave a magic wand and she's going to make everything that I'm asking for in this reading happen. And it doesn't work that way, okay? But what does happen and what you're doing here for yourself is that you're putting that cycle into motion this month that really does bring about the change, and finally recognizing that you don't wake up one day and it's all just totally different and the universe plopped it in your lap. That's, I guess it happens to somebody once in a while, but never to me. I mean, it's just not a realistic thing. You know what I'm saying? There's a saying, I'm not going to take the time to Google it and see exactly what it is, but, it's something like, your hopes, your dreams, whatever, they all live on the other side of fear. And that's where you're at right now. That gives me the absolute chills. Those fears that have held you back, you're stepping into your power in the month of August and making things happen. This is where I want to say that, this transition, because there's definitely a transition taking place. It's within and it's without, and you're working at it so hard. Like you have a vision for change. One of your biggest commitments that you have in life is to yourself. Because really, when you stop and you think about it, and I tell people this all the time because they're always like, oh, that one true love that got away, they want to be with this person. Do you first. Take care of you. This is a time to learn who you are, figure out who you are, work on yourself. Because in the long run, when you become a better you, when you become a happier you, and the you that you wish to be, you're a much better person going into a relationship. And what does that mean? It means you attract a better relationship, okay? That's the bottom line right there. So you step over, past the fear. You get to the other side of the fear, and what's there? My goodness, it's like a party. And not that you're going to throw a party, that type of thing. But it's like you could pat yourself on the back and say, look at what I've done, all right? Because your security, what you're accomplishing, I think, because I've been saying November for a while, all right? So I'm seeing it here like that type of fulfillment is coming in probably in late October. It's not present at the very beginning because September you're just kind of starting to stand back up again. You got to remember, this is a long haul right here at this point. August is, like you have to survive to get to September. And I'm not saying that you won't, because you most definitely will. But next month, you're really giving thanks for the changes, okay? And kind of doing the whole, please God, just let this work, because there is that fear that remains a little bit. You know how like all of a sudden when things are going right, you're like, is this too good to be true? Is it going to stay this way? Well, maybe not forever, because, it isn't going to be perfect by any means. But I think it helps with the stress and the feeling cheated. There's a big, big change that's coming. I don't think that you see it 100% this month, simply because the change just keeps on coming. It's very, very rapid this month, with it being eclipse season and where Uranus will be. And oh my goodness, Jupiter square Pluto. It goes on and on and on. It's like rapid fire change throughout the month. So if we equate August to a storm, okay, and whether you want to say it was a cyclone or stormy seas or whatever, getting to the full moon in September on the 6th, which is in Pisces, and that's where you're exiting eclipse season. That's where you see it's just kind of it's like going through that water ride that's all crazy, and then at the end you're just gliding, okay? All the hype while you're going through it, and you're not so sure. I mean, it's exciting and it's scary and it's everything imaginable, and then in the end you just kind of coast. All right. So it's not so much that you're coasting through life, but boy, things are easing up at that full moon. All right. So you've got about 5 more weeks of really feeling this way, from the beginning of August to the full moon in September. And then after that, you're working your way past Mercury's shadow, etc., etc. So I think that's why I keep arriving at November for saying, oh, I can breathe and I feel good. I see Saturn here. And as I mentioned, Saturn will go direct on the 25th. Okay. You've been through a lot. And you should be very proud of yourself, no matter what you've been through. Sometimes hard times can even be embarrassing for some people. You don't want to live them again. You want to be done with them. One of the things that I find is that, and it's wrong when people do it, but it's happened to me many times, is that I'll help someone as much as I can, and then they don't want to associate themselves with me anymore once they get to a better spot. So it's like delete and block Cecilia, because she's a reminder of that. You should be proud of yourself for surviving that, not deleting and blocking people who helped you to get to where you are. Okay, keep that in mind and remember that. But your wishes, the stress is lifting, the abundance in there. So you see, you're doing a complete turnaround here. You're changing it from hard times to abundant times. And this whole bit with Saturn, you're winding up in a good spot. Maybe not right at the end of the month. I still say that harvest moon, all right, is when you're going to notice things easing up. Because in all honesty, I forget the percentage, but I want to say that Saturn is probably retrograde or in shadow for like 90% of the year. There's not much time when it isn't. So you can't, get too focused on that, for the mere fact that that's its job, right? It's what it does. But you're able to defend yourself better now, but not in such a defensive position. It's not you against the world. You can take on anything and win. It's amazing. But it's amazing because you're amazing. Look at what you've been able to do. I'm telling you, this is really different. But there is kind of a I want to call it a very serious attitude here. Not as in having an attitude, but in being so serious about everything that's going on. And once you get to that point, that full moon where you've gotten past eclipse season and things lighten up, then you're feeling a little more carefree. You might be a little more adventurous then. But I don't think there's anything wrong with being this serious, to be honest with you. I think it's really important because you're applying yourself, to the tasks at hand. It's like the timing is right this month to do things, to make them happen. Separating yourself from all of it, from life's storms. It's like if we could make a little movie of, take the tarot cards and get the little storm and the little guy riding along and all the things that he does, and then just see him coming out, into the daylight. The dawn breaks, the waters are smoother, and that's what's happening. All right? But not this month. That's what you have to remember. It's not that this month is bad. It's just that there's so much change. And one of the things that you have to keep in mind, that I remind everyone of all the time, is that this change is not just all about you. It's everywhere, everyone, and everything. There are those who are impacted in a positive way, and there are those, with some bad karma who will be impacted in a negative way. And there will be fallout for them from that. Okay, they have to do whatever, is going on with them. So there's change all throughout the month. Changes going on around you, changes that you are doing. But I really truly feel that the big turning point is the total solar eclipse in Leo on August 21st. Because there is a sense of finality to it when it's at the end. If you think back, and I think this is in a good way, okay? If you think back to when we had, let me see, March of 2015, we had an eclipse in Pisces, a lunar eclipse, which was at the anaretic degree of Pisces, very tail end. It had such a sense of finality to it. The universe said, you're done here. That's it. No more. And you probably kept on trying. But the universe said, you're done. And it kept pushing back at you every time you tried to keep on, until you got the message, and then you began to move forward away from all of those things. So what my gut is saying is that even though, we're working in a different sign now, we're working in Leo, that this time, and Leo has to do with the heart. It's almost like your heart's desires, all right? What have you been wishing for? What have you been hoping for? You really need to close out that chapter. Whatever that last thing was, I feel that the impetus comes this month to make you do it. And once you do it, you can go forward. And that's important to know. I hope that that's making sense. So it's a different kind of a finality that's coming in, but it's one that allows you to access your hopes and dreams, that they will be on the way. And bless all of you who can keep it together, that being steadfast in the face of change. Now, that's not being resistant to change. That's just, staying very level-headed, very grounded. The changes are going on, but you're like, okay, I can move on. I can do this. And you're willing to make it happen. You're ready to make it happen. I find this amazing. Now, there was something I noticed here, because as I was talking, I was putting down more cards. And there has been this, more so mentally, what you've been through in recent years. And it's almost like a mental prison, where you want to get your mind away from that to, not all those feelings of being trapped by life, and more healing, positive thoughts, just turning everything around. That's what you're doing. That's what it's all about. So, this is wonderful. And that help is coming through Jupiter, okay? Because Jupiter, when it squares off with Pluto, it helps put you back into power, because it urges you. So you've got 2 days in a row, like, boom, Uranus goes retrograde, boom, Jupiter squares Pluto. You can't help but want to get up off the couch and go do something about your life. There is no doubt about it. So that mental trap that I don't know if I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. It's like, well, let me look at that list. Oh, this, and then I have to do that and that. All of a sudden, no. You're just going. You're making it happen. We've talked about starting lines, finish lines, all of that. It's like, finally, I think the finish line is closer to the equinox, because so much of this cycle is over, and then you emerge from that tunnel. So that's where you are right now. Imagine being in this stormy, dark tunnel that is full of change, and it's meant to be positive, and you're like, I gotta get out the other side. September 20th, my friends. I really, truly believe that. So that means from like the 6th at the full moon to the 20th, as you're just going to see things easing up, feeling lighter, you feeling more carefree. Whatever it is you have to do, whatever, responsibilities you have, you're not going to mind them. You're going to be able to do whatever it is that helps you work towards your changes. This is a big, big difference in you. This month is just like, bam, bam, change, incredible change. And really what gets you through it is your beliefs. Okay, I truly believe that. Your beliefs, but, believing in yourself, that is more so than anything. Believing in yourself and the power of free will and the ability to take charge. Okay, so that's what you're doing. You're taking that list that we started. Now, remember this conversation? Back in February, March, I said, equinox to equinox. And what are you doing? It didn't all happen overnight, did it? That's for sure. But just getting the list together and understanding the order that it had to be in, it's helped you a great deal. So, you know, your struggles for motion have been, they're there, but they're changing. Okay. They're definitely changing. So it's like back and forth, back and forth. And you can't see everything. You know, we talked about this, that tunnel, we're in that tunnel. But you're coming out. You're coming out. Now, mid-October, I know, this is supposed to be for August, right? But I'm a firm believer, and if I see it, I have to tell you, mid-October, Jupiter changes signs, all right? So do your best now to utilize Jupiter, all right, for everything that you can, because it will be moving on into Scorpio and highlighting a new area of your life come October the 10th. So, you know, but you're looking at that. What you can't see by October, you can. Remember that. That's going to be very important to you, because I think at that point in time, you're really having like a view of what comes next in your life. So this month brings major decisions, major power plays, total upheaval, and complete enlightenment. It's crazy. It's all over the place. There's clarity, and you are determined to step into your power, rise to the challenges, and, you know, tweak your plans whenever necessary to make it all happen. Because bottom line, your goal is to manifest what you want. I want to thank you all very much for being here. There is much more additional tarot guidance which will be available to you through Patreon and YouTube. And I will see you here again real soon. Take care.